Mic again, Sam?
That's nice.
It's okay. Scott, obviously it's been a good week or two here. What's been the mood in the camp over the certainly last few days since the last win?
Yeah, it's obviously been a very good few weeks for us to obviously back-to-back wins and an away win as well. So there's a real confidence and a real buzz around the place. So yeah, it's been good for that really, and it's prepared us for obviously a tough game coming up the weekend now.
Yeah, I don't know how you look at the season, whether you break it into blocks and that kind of thing, but certainly it strikes me looking at your results so far, you've crucially won games against teams that before the season your staff, the fans would have expected you to win. That must be incredibly pleasing.
Very pleasing because of course from our fixture list, what come out, and sometimes the psychological element of what maybe not the results going your way can puts huge pressure on certain fixtures. And you're right, that while them games we didn't get results out of certain games where we were competitive, but for one reason or another we've not got the points there. There was games that obviously fell that we obviously had to go and get a result really. So and we've managed to do that. So that pleases me massively, and it puts us in a good position coming up to the remainder of the season really.
Yeah, because it's striking, isn't it? It's not just yourselves, Leeds as well, Sunderland. All three teams are in good positions at this point as we head towards that second international break.
Yeah, I mean, look, like you said, the three teams that come up have been very competitive, and I think I've referenced it a few times. This is still early part of the season, and there's still a long way to go. And the consistency of us and the consistency of many teams will be the defining factor, really. So, some really good early signs certainly from us, which is very encouraging. The message is that consistency in terms of what we do in our habits and how we've got results need to be there for us to obviously keep producing the performances and hopefully the points that we need.
So how do you view then what is obviously a tough fixture against Arsenal? Currently they're setting the pace. Is it pressure off, nothing to lose, or do you expect yourselves to go into that game and get a result?
Well, the aim is for that. And while of course in the context and having an understanding of the opposition we're up against, I think we always have real understanding of the difficulty of this game. This is a top team that have been together for some time, and they're in and around at favourites to win the division this year. So there's a big challenge for us this week, but we'll go into this as best we can prepped and try and give the best version of ourselves to try and get a result for sure. And we're going to need certain ingredients as always. We're going to need to be at optimum in probably every facet of our game. But like I said, over the course of this, we've had some difficult fixtures, and we've been very, very competitive. So I'd like to think again this weekend that'll be our aim, while also having an understanding of what we're up against.
What do you make of the wider discussion about the way that Arsenal are doing it? Very structured, very reliant on being defensively sound. They've incurred a little bit of criticism for perhaps not being as expansive as others might want them to be, but they're doing it in a very kind of particular, defined way, isn't it, stylistically?
I'm not sure I see it like that. When I'm watching them, to be honest with you, I see a fluid team really. I see an unbelievably well coached team, a team that solves situations, and of course there's a large element, or not a large element, there's one of many elements. I wouldn't say this is definitely not a team that just rely on set plays. Now obviously over the course of the last start of this season there's been key moments where they've got wins from set plays. This is a well-oiled team and a functional team that are very fluid in the way they play really, and defensively, like you say, is really a foundation. It was probably something we lived by last year. Really gives you a bedrock, and they've certainly formed that. But yeah, for me, like I said, this is a top team and a well-coached team.
Is it fair to say though it's more George Graham than Arsene Wenger?
No, I wouldn't say that either. To be honest with you, no, I wouldn't say that. But maybe I see it a little bit different. And when you're watching teams and you see the level of detail what's obviously gone into certain parts of their game, it's very, very evident of where them details are. And there's I think full credit to Mikel, because like I said, there's a lot of facets to a game of football. One is how you play attacking, defensively, and set plays, and they're ticking a lot of boxes.
And just finally, what have you noticed on a wider point about styles changing in the Premier League this year? Because obviously you came up with a fearsome reputation for being defensively very solid, and it seems, certainly from the outside, a lot of Premier League teams are certainly gearing themselves that way to make sure, first and foremost, they're hard to beat.
Well, I think, as always, the game evolves very, very quickly, and it goes through stages. And we probably recognised that trend early on this season when we're prepping for this season. You can see the game's starting to change a little bit, and the game is becoming probably more defensively structured, more solid. Our teams, set plays are now starting to come back into fashion a lot. And you do see this, and you need to keep up with where you see it and how you see best to exploit, or certainly what you're up against. And a lot of the teams in this league are following a similar trend. That will change again in a few years' time, or in 2-3 months' time. Coaches which are constantly looking to get an edge or work out how you need to go about it, and that's where the game's going at this moment in time, really.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Just on that point, Scott, I mean, Arsenal, I think I've been particularly successful from set pieces. I think I read they've scored 11 goals via set pieces. As a coach, can you work on stopping them, or is it down to their delivery, really?
It's a couple of. You can, of course, we'll work on that, and we'll try and work out how we go best to try and limit their success. Large parts is, of course, you've got deliveries, 9 times out of 10 are on the money, runs, and they're obviously well drilled in knowing where they're going. So yeah, look, we'll be drilling as doing everything we can to try and work out how we can stop this and how we can be effective to nullify it, really. But like you said, they're good at it.
And they've only conceded 3 goals, which is extraordinary. I just wonder what do you think makes them so difficult to score against?
They're just a very good, well-structured team, and yeah, they have a real clear understanding. Look, they've got unbelievable players, very, very good players that, in certain moments, that how probably Mikel wants to go defensively can change. He's got the confidence in players, whether it's man for man, whatever it may be. That they're very good players. In saying that as well, they're just a well-structured team that's been together now for some time, and I think you can see that in the way they play and in every part of their game, really.
Back at home this weekend, had a couple of wins at home and an incredibly narrow loss to Liverpool. How important is it, particularly in games like this, that Turf Moor is a hostile place for teams to come?
That's the aim. That's what we need it to be, really. We need to, we have an incredible home record over the course of the last 14, 15 months here. We've been hugely competitive. Fans have been every part of that, really. We need to make this place very difficult for teams to come, and we've proven that. And we need to make that exactly like that this weekend, really. So while we're up against a very good team, we need to have a real understanding of what this team don't want to face, and that's hopefully the team we're going to be. We're doing the polar opposite to what Arsenal ultimately want. We're going to need to bring absolute humongous energy into this stadium. Our players are going to need to bring big energy, unbelievable spirit, and with that, we try and make it as uncomfortable and try and get a result at the weekend.
Obviously, Lyle got the winner last time out at Wolves, but Dubravka made the sort of match-winning save even after that. I was just wondering how important is a player's Premier League experience like him in a situation like that?
Key, yeah, very key. And you probably start working out at the beginning of the season when you're trying to recruit and you're trying to build a squad, and a squad coming up from the Championship into the Premier League. You want a real balance and a real mix. And certainly people what have got a T-shirt and been there and have an understanding of Premier League, the quality of Premier League, what's needed at Premier League is key, really. And Martin's been that, to be fair. He's been crucial for that with his experience, really. So, yeah.
Just on your style of play, Scott, and perceptions of it, I suppose if you didn't follow your Burnley team closely last season, you might say actually Burnley were just very good defensively, gave nothing away, and that was that, which clearly wasn't the case last season. Your answer to the Arsenal question I thought was quite interesting. So is it just perceptions that because you're good at doing one thing, therefore you're not good at doing something else?
Yeah, that's how I see it, Scott, to be honest with you. I think that's the world we live in, mate. What's the cry out at that moment? The cry is you've not conceded in 10 games or whatever it may be, and that will be the main topic. A team that's sitting top of the Premier League, or a team like us last year, if anyone thinks that it's because Arsenal just score from corners, or us last year just got 100 points from not conceding, having this defensive bedrock, no, so far from it really. There's a lot more things what get involved in that really.
I know your 3 wins have come against Wolves and Sunderland and Leeds, but your performances against the other sides, and we've just touched on Liverpool there at home especially, those performances, United away, Tottenham away to a degree, are they just as important? I know you didn't get points from those games, but the performances in those games.
Yeah, it's a great question. They are. Definitely they are, because every single game we've been involved in this year, there's been parts of games, periods of games, where I look at us and I think we're hugely competitive here. We're right in this game. And even Tottenham, like you said, it was on the end of a 3-0 loss at that day. The first start of that game was tough for us, and then we grew into the game, get some chances, and I think that's been common in every single game for us. And I always say it's a squad constantly learning. I do see a progression. I see us from the weekend where I could arguably say I thought it was the best we've probably played with the ball as well. It's a team in constant development, and it's them experience that we've been through that are obviously improving us really. So hopefully we keep nudging on that, mate.
I've just been speaking to Axel Tuanzebe. Just an appreciation as to how he's settled into your side and how he's kind of adjusted to life at Burnley.
Yeah, he's done really well. We was disappointed. Obviously, Axe come in with a bit of an injury, and it probably longed a little bit longer than we had hoped. I think you probably we're starting to see the best version of Axe. Certainly the weekend, I thought he was very good defensively, very, very good. So we're pleased to have him back, fit now, and he'll play a large part for us this year, really, in that back unit. He
speaks really well, doesn't he? You can tell he's been kind of brought up in a, I don't know, I'm going to say proper way, but you know what I mean? You can tell his background, can't you?
He's a bit of a student as well. Like, you have a real understanding of the game. Anytime you're in dialogue with Axel, there's a real understanding of the tactical element of the game, and an understanding of where things were maybe a problem or what we did well, and he normally nails it. So he's a good pro.
Is that part of your recruitment as well? When do you kind of dig into that a little bit?
Try to, yeah. It's something we look at, and we go to great lengths in terms of personalities and trying to test personalities in terms of surveys before you sign someone, to get a real clear understanding of fundamentally a human being before obviously you sign. And it's a big part of our recruitment process, what we try and go through to try and pick the good ones, mate.
Cheers, Scott. Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, guys, we'll turn the cameras off now, please, and we'll move on to